Would the president want to run again in 2024?
Well, they sure as heck think he wants to run. That's why they're doing this to him. And it's maybe the only way they can beat him. Because next time he'll be forewarned and forearmed about just exactly what they're trying to get away with.
With Trump leaving, Democrats are going to need a new enemy to hate, because hate is what holds their party together. Unfortunately for you, they've now decided that enemy is the entire Republican Party and all of its voters, roughly half the country.
So let's talk about the future, because the president, according to more than one recent poll this week, is still the person that most Republicans would like to see on the ballot in 2024. Will he run again?
Well, that's exactly what the impeachment's about. Mm-hmm. Impeachment is not about, they didn't even charge, the crime of incitement to riot is so far beyond what he did, with enormous protections for free speech, that it's almost idiotic to talk about it. I mean, every law professor that's in the middle of the road will tell you it was a perfectly legal speech, mm-hmm. as were all the rest. Incitement to riot virtually means, taking him into the riot. Come with me. Not language, not even angry language. So this was a setup.
As investigators trying to piece together exactly what happened last week, a left-wing social justice activist allegedly posing as a journalist was just arrested by the FBI in Utah. The FBI affidavit says he's on video egging on protesters at the Capitol. He said things like, "We're about to burn this down and we ain't waiting until the next election."
Well, McConnell says he doesn't know how he's going to vote, which means McConnell might be leaning towards actually convicting the president. Does he want to do that? Does McConnell want to end the possibility of the president running again in 2024?
I can't speak for Senator McConnell. I'm very disappointed in him. Very disappointed in the things that he did, the things that he said. He knows better. He's a smart enough man, to know that this terrible thing that happened to the Capitol wasn't caused by the president. And this is a terrible thing to do to a man who served his country the way President Trump has.
Would the president want to run again in 2024?
You don't know the president. I mean, I can't say for sure. 4 years is a long time. But, well, they sure as heck think he wants to run. That's why they're doing this to him.
And on the impeachment, it's really a continuation of the greatest witch hunt in the history of politics. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. This impeachment is causing tremendous anger, and you're doing it, and it's really a terrible thing that they're doing. For Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to continue on this path, I think it's causing tremendous danger to our country, and it's causing tremendous anger. I want no violence. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
And it's maybe the only way they can beat him, because next time he'll be forewarned and forearmed about just exactly what they're trying to get away with. And I predict over the next year, a lot more information will come out about this. He spent his whole career acting unethically and misusing his son as a bagman to collect millions and millions from a crooked Ukrainian oligarch who was paying off Joe. He wasn't paying off the big guy. Who's going to pay Hunter Biden? I feel sorry for Hunter Biden. The guy's been an addict all his life, and his father has made it worse by putting him in that horrible business he had him in.
So does President Trump appoint a special counsel before he leaves office?
That's up to President Trump. I mean, the reality is he could appoint a special counsel, and Biden could remove that special counsel in a minute.
So it doesn't really make a difference if he does, right?
No, and I think the press, if Biden did it, it'd be the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Because the press is so biased.
The Democrats are now on a Republican witch hunt. Their goal is to completely silence and censor their opposition. Take a look at what Tucker Carlson reported on last night.
With Trump leaving, Democrats are going to need a new enemy to hate, because hate is what holds their party together. Unfortunately for you, they've now decided that enemy is the entire Republican Party and all of its voters, roughly half the country. And if you think we're overstating it, watch Congressman Patrick Maloney of New York 2 days ago on MSNBC suggest that Republican lawmakers are so evil and so dangerous that it's possible one of them could smuggle a gun into Joe Biden's inauguration and shoot the president-elect dead as he's taking the oath of office. He said that. Watch.
It's a sad reality that we find ourselves at a place where the enemy is within, and we cannot trust our own colleagues. But now we can't be sure a member of Congress won't bring a gun to the inauguration. We can't be sure that a member of this body wouldn't be bringing people around the night before who the next day may have been participating in the murder of a Capitol police officer.
The speed at which they are inflicting harm against conservatives is frightening. In just hours, they impeach our president. No hearings, no waiting for the investigations to conclude, no fast and furious vindictive strike.
Congressman Eric Swalwell, though, agrees with this wholeheartedly. Swalwell, you remember, is so committed to unity that he once suggested using nuclear weapons against American gun owners who refused to allow him to confiscate their firearms. Swalwell appeared on MSNBC to accuse Republicans of plotting effectively a civil war.
I hope we understand, if there was an inside job, whether it was members or staff or anyone working at the Capitol who helped these attackers better navigate the Capitol, that is going to be investigated.
Yeah, so the guy with the painted face and the Viking hat and the Chewbacca outfit was part of an inside job. It was a coup attempt. And that's going to be investigated, says Swalwell. Investigated. And you know what that means. Get ready for the paramilitary SWAT teams arriving in pre-dawn raids with CNN camera crews in tow. Roger Stone was just a preview.
They know exactly what they're doing. Why do you think these left-wing propagandists are pushing so hard for a Trump-led third party? Because it will secure a Democrat victory in 2024. I know that is not what you all want to believe. But here's what I do. I do the math. 74 million Americans couldn't get it done this time. And yes, all the evidence of fraud hurt us. But not all 74 million are fervent Trump supporters. Many of them were just smart enough to know Joe Biden would be a disaster.
Even Democrats considered Joe Biden a sad old fool, worn out, empty, and confused. Joe Biden didn't seem scary. That was not a small thing in a year when our core institutions appeared to be falling apart. Biden's PR team told voters that Donald Trump was a divisive figure. Even many of Donald Trump's own voters had to admit there was some truth in that. So Biden pledged to be the opposite. Biden promised to be America's gentle grandfather, gathering the nation around the hearth, soothing hurt feelings. Biden promised to unite the country. He said so again and again.
You want us to hear one another again, see one another again, respect one another again. So let's begin the work to heal, to unite.
Before long, Biden was on TV comparing sitting U.S. senators to Nazis. Last week, as thousands of Trump supporters gathered in Washington and tens of millions more of them watched on television, Joe Biden made certain to remind every one of them that they voted for a disgusting man, probably because they're disgusting too. Maybe you're not the loving grandfather dispensing wisdom in front of the fire. Maybe that's not the presidency we're actually getting. Maybe we shouldn't be surprised because the real Joe Biden has a tendency to scream at people who disagree with him.